Hi everyone, it's Tanya Tracy with Flow Physical Therapy and Pilates in Asheville. And I'm back again with another Feature Area Friday. So today's feature area is actually one of my favorite areas to work with. And that area is the foot. So the foot and the shoulder, which is my other favorite area to work, both of them I enjoy because there are all these different joints and bones and they're all working together to create this rhythmic, stable movement. And I think that is really interesting and fascinating because it's like gears of a clock. When they're working together really well, they function incredibly well and give all this wonderful movement. However, unlike a clock, because of all the joints and all the movement that you have, you can have an injury to one segment of that area and you can still function okay, especially with the foot. So when we take a look at the foot, there are a lot of bones. So we have these long bones in the foot. We have the toes, which have 2 to 3 different bones in each of them. We have all these tarsal bones, which are kind of the midfoot. And then we start to get into this area here, which is more of like our ankle. But you can have a lot of movement at all these different spots. Basically, that movement is meant to accommodate the ground when we're stepping on it, so that the foot can kind of flex and bend and the rest of the body doesn't have to do as much twisting and moving. So it's meant to be incredibly mobile. And that foot's job when you touch the ground is to relay a message really quickly to the brain about what that surface feels like and what it's doing, so the brain can quickly relay another message back down to tell the foot kind of which muscles should kick in and when and where. So it's a really cool thing to work with. But what happens is over time, we get one injury, our foot accommodates, and then we maybe get another one. And over time, those injuries add up until you can start having problems on up the line, like the ankle, the knee, the hip, the low back. So I like to show everybody this exercise that comes in here, regardless of if they're a foot problem, they can be up the chain and it still is going to be beneficial if I notice that there's something happening at the foot. So the next exercise I'm going to show you for today is called toe yoga. And toe yoga isn't stuff about downward dogs or any other of these pigeon stretches, so forth. It really is just showing you how to get that foot, those toes, to communicate with the brain faster and to reconnect your brain so that they move more independently of the rest of the lower half of the body. So I'm going to pause for a moment, set up the camera so you can see my foot, and we're going to go through that. Okay, so what toe yoga is moving the toes independently. So what that means, the very first one I kind of think is like the hitchhiker's toe. So the idea is you're letting all these outer toes relax and just the great toe or the big toe is going to come up. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a delay. This is not a super easy exercise, even though it sounds easy. Some people might do this quite well, but over time, if your feet have been kind of stuffed in shoes, your toes get a lot less mobile. So when you do this, I have a harder time on this foot. When I lift up, I'm going to exaggerate. Sometimes my toes want to press into the ground to help get this big toe to come up. So you're trying to relax these toes, not to press into the ground, but just to hang out there. I can actually do it a little bit better on my left. You can see if I do both of them together, this side presses down into the ground more than this side. But this toe doesn't come up as far. I broke my toe a couple years ago, and this is still a little bit tight. So the other cue when you're doing this is you're looking at the ankle, so that when you lift that toe, there it goes, your ankle doesn't roll out to help it come up. So the ankle stays still as the toe pops up. You can also see when this happens, this tendon here comes up, and this is the long tendon that goes into a muscle that comes up through here. If you're having a hard time getting the toe to come up, you can tap on that tendon to kind of provide a little bit of feedback. It's like you're waking it up to help it turn the attention to this toe only to help lift it. The other trick you can do is to lift all the toes and then see if you can put them down. So again, lifting up, placing them down, keeping this one up, and then seeing if you can bring it down. This may take several sessions trying to do these exercises to get it correct, because we were trying to retrain a movement pattern between your brain and the foot. So we need to get the neural pattern woken up again, basically. So that's the first step. The next one deals with these toes. So now we're leaving the big toe down and just lifting the outer four. Same thing, keeping big toe down, lifting outer four. Now when you're doing this, you watch the ankle again. It's not this, where I'm rolling in. You're keeping your ankle the same, your arch stays relatively the same, and you're picking it up. So, those are the two exercises for toe yoga. When I'm doing this, I start in sitting with my knees bent to 90 degrees or an L shape, and my hips at about roughly the same, so that my trunk is upright. When you want to progress this and you get really good at doing it sitting and you can just pop it up very easily, the next step is then to do this in standing. So you should be able to get out about 15 to 20 of these consistently. And working at it over time, it will happen. And again, some of it's more neural connection, some of it's a little bit of muscle weakness. So neural connections, you can retrain them pretty well within 2 to 4 weeks. Actual muscle strength, we're talking like 6 weeks if it's really, truly weak. So be patient, be kind to yourself. If you're doing this and it feels really frustrating, give it a break, come back again later and try it again. Don't just keep trying to do the same thing and getting frustrated. So, again, that is one of my favorite exercises to give out. It feels really silly when you're doing it, and it can be really frustrating when you can't do it. But what I find is if you ask younger kids, again, they can typically do this because they haven't been stuffed in shoes for as long as adults have. So I hope you try it this weekend. I hope you tell anyone you know how to do some toe yoga. It's a fun party trick. And if you liked this or you found it was helpful, please like it, share it, subscribe, all those good things. And if you want to know more about what I do in my clinic, my website is flowptandpilates.com. I will see you all next week.